Yo, what's up guys, it's Suraj from Tech Devoted, and in today's video I want to talk to you about the Sigma 16mm f1.4 DCDN contemporary lens for Sony E-Mount. Yeah, that was a mouthful, but honestly guys, I don't even know where to start. This lens is just incredible. I love just about every aspect of this thing, but I guess let's start by talking about the aperture. So obviously this lens is f1.4 and it is 16mm, which in full frame terms is approximately 24mm at f2.1, assuming my math is right. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but that is such a huge deal. We have never seen a lens this wide in terms of both focal length and aperture for the Sony APS-C E-Mount system. The look that comes out of this lens is almost that full frame look. Now for those of you that don't know what the full frame look is, it's basically a look that has like a very shallow depth of field. This is most relevant with wide angle lenses. Like typically to achieve this look, I'm talking about like a 24mm 1.8 or 1.4 on a full frame camera, which would translate to like 16mm 1.2 on a crop sensor. Now obviously we don't have a 16mm 1.2 existing for crop sensors. Even if it did, it would be insanely expensive. But this 16mm 1.4 that I'm reviewing today, the Sigma 16 1.4, is pretty dang close to that. It's just half a stop less than the ideal 1.2. I mean, just look at that, not my hair, but the blurred background behind me. Everything but my face is hopefully blurred out. I'm counting on autofocus. So yeah, 16mm 1.4, almost that full frame look. Also, check this place out. I'm at Shetty Hurley Church. It's like an hour drive away from Hassan, which is like 3 hours away from Bangalore. It's a beautiful place, so I figured I should do this part here. But anyway, so yeah, 16mm 1.4, almost that full frame look. I've been waiting for this for too long. I think the blurred background looks absolutely incredible. This is quite ideal for vlogging. So yeah, full frame look on a crop sensor body. I'm not complaining. Anyway, let's talk about some other stuff now. The autofocus on this thing is actually quite good. I would say it's slightly better than 30mm that I reviewed not too long ago. The motor also feels quieter. The 30mm was pretty quiet to begin with, but this one is even better. At least I feel that way. The build quality is quite good too. The lens can feel slightly front heavy depending on the body you're using, but it's not too bad. Now let's take a look at some photo samples, and this thing is an absolute beast. The 16mm focal length is obviously pretty wide. It's a great focal length for landscapes, astrophotography, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I could not try out astrophotography because there are no stars in Bangalore, not where I live at least. But this is obviously definitely not a portrait lens. I recently went on a road trip with 3 other people with just this one lens, and I returned with exactly 0 portraits, which makes sense because nobody shoots portraits on a 16mm. All I had is landscapes and more landscapes and some more landscapes and one group selfie. Yeah, this thing can also be used for selfies. It's actually pretty wide. In my testing, at least in this one particular scenario, the chromatic aberration was actually really bad up until f5.6. Again, I think this could be just my unit or my test case scenario, because I think this is a very high contrast image or situation. I've seen reviews where the fringing isn't nearly as bad, and in general while doing casual photos or video, the fringing is honestly never noticeable. So I guess it could be just that one test situation. Vignetting is also a thing, wide open at f1.4, but stopping it down to like f2.2 pretty much completely got rid of it. Speaking of video, this lens is obviously quite good at anything that you would shoot with a 16mm lens. Travel videos, real estate, pretty much anything that you can think of shooting on a 16mm lens. But what I think this lens is really particularly good at is vlogging. Again, comes back to the thing that I said at the start of this video. 16mm and f1.4, really wide focal length, really wide aperture as well, and the autofocus is amazing. So I think it makes a really nice vlogging lens. So overall, in my opinion, the 16mm 1.4 is definitely one amazing lens, one of its kind really. It's wide, it has good autofocus, it can make a great lens for shooting on a gimbal, and it's fairly affordable, although it's out of stock and has been out of stock for a long while here in India. Is this the only lens you'll ever need? No, I don't think so. But I know I'm gonna get asked a question between this and the Sigma 30mm, which one should you get? So pretty much in a nutshell, I think that both these lenses have their own uses. It's really hard to pick the 16 over the 30 or vice versa, like just shoot with one lens, because they're like two completely different focal lengths. But if you can buy both, I mean like the 16 and 30, you're pretty much set for all kinds of shooting scenarios. They really make a dynamic duo in my opinion, and the colors also match 100%, as you can see from the samples on the screen. And the 16mm, being a 16mm, feels a little more stable than the 30, although there is no kind of stabilization. Wide angle lenses inherently are more stable. So yeah, that is my quick 16 versus 30 comparison. So guys, that is it for my review of the Sigma 16mm f1.4. If you found this one helpful, give it a like. If you didn't, vote it down. Also let me know in the comments why you didn't like this video. Consider subscribing if you're new around here. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Boy, I'm getting tired of advertising. It's been Suraj. Thanks so much for watching. Take it easy and stay devoted.